tuned in to Bellingham Podcast Media Tech for the week of July 16, 2017, episode numero 45. From the city by the Salish Sea, I'm AJ Barce.
And straight out of 98226, I am Chris Powell. On this episode, the summer season has gone from preheat to full-on bake mode. Now that we're spending more time outside, how can you improve the tech in your backyard? Plus, AJ's spies with his little beady eyes, some tech that's worth a try. Throw some ice cubes in a glass, pour yourself a drink of choice. Sit back for a half hour and enjoy two cool podcast cats. That's us! This is BPM Tech.
Well, that was a fun pre-show.
Yeah, it's good to be doing the hook again. How are you, AJ?
I'm doing good. Apparently, Kat got my tongue before this recording, but hey, I think I got it under wraps.
We put it back in the litter box, so that's all right. Happy Friday as of this recording.
Happy Friday.
The weather's beautiful outside. For those of you that are listening outside of Whatcom County, hope you're getting some coolness relief in there. The summer's really hitting hard, but we are, enjoying the summer here in the 70s zone here in Bellingham and stuff like that. So let's get started. We got some. We always talk about tech, but this time we're going to take things outside.
Yeah,
and we're going to talk about some backyard technology ideas for improving what you currently have. AJ, hit it.
Okay, so tech and gear for the great outdoors. I've got a recommendation for anybody who, first of all, before we get to the barbecue season, for somebody to get to the whole grilling and relaxing thing, first thing is, at the beginning of the summer, or perhaps even this weekend, you're going to be doing some weeding. And here in the Pacific Northwest, we have some extraordinary kinds of weeds, okay? And these are the weeds that no matter what you do, they keep coming back.
It's like Little Shop of Weed Horrors.
It is the Little Shop of Weed Horrors in Pacific Northwest. We've got dandelions, we got blackberry, briars, we got everything you can think of in our backyard. Whether you've got acreage or not, we have the untamable weeds. So I've got two pieces of tech for you to help get things going. Before you get your patio squared away and stuff, two pieces of tech or gear that I use every season for getting my backyard in order. One, it is $25 on Amazon, or you can find it at the local hardware stores that rhyme with Schmoes and Foam Depot
or Bros.
There we go. It's made by a little company called Black & Decker. And you may be thinking, oh, this might have some battery or some gasoline engines attached to it. No. So what this is the Black & Decker BD 1773 chop saw.
A chop saw.
It's 15 inches, and this is not the chop saw that your dad had. This is a chop saw that looks like it will arm you in the zombie apocalypse.
Oh, like The Walking Dead.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes. So what it is basically it's a 15-inch blade, so like a machete.
I like it already.
I know. On the back, there's like saw teeth so that you can like saw those limbs. Maybe you've got some unwieldy small branches that you need to have, sawed off. It's got a barb hook on the front so that you can get those pesky blackberry barbs without, getting them into your fingers. And then it's got this gnarly hook on the backside also so that you can kind of really yoink those vines out of the ground. I have used this for the last 4 years, and I have abused it for 4 years. I have slaughtered many a blackberry, many a juniper, and many a maple with this thing. I love it. For $25, if you need to get weed whacking fast, take a look at it.
Excellent.
The other one I have is if you have a small, like those camp stove, Coleman style, those green propane tank things,
yes.
There's this little thing called a yard dragon. Now, this yard dragon is basically this piece of steel pipe that hooks up to one of those green things and then shoots out major, like 50,000 BTU flames. And the purpose of this is you go over like things like dandelions that grow in the cracks of pavers or maybe your driveway. And what it does is it will burn the dandelion top. And that's not what kills it. It cooks the root so that it just shrivel ups and dies. So if you're eco-friendly or if you have babies or if you have dogs and you don't want to put poison around.
Or you have zombies around.
This is a cool little tool for getting those weeds out of the cracks without the poison trap. But be sure to keep a hose around because you are starting fires.
That I was not aware of. I like the flamethrower approach. That is fun.
So that's my two prep tech.
Prep tech. Okay, sounds good. So I'm going to go first as we're talking about backyard tech. So as we're thinking about some ideas and what we can do to recommend, I had two people in mind, or two types of folks in mind. One, those that have a backyard and some, a little bit of yard, and then those in a balcony in the apartment life, condo life that may not have a backyard, so to speak. So for those of you that have some grass and some backyardage, got you covered. Should you have a good deal of backyard square footage, we in Whatcom County, in Bellingham, specifically in Fairhaven, we have an outdoor cinema that goes on during the summer. Saturday nights by the Village Books on the Village Green in Fairhaven. It's a countywide thing. So many people will lay down blankets, sleeping bags, chairs, etc., and they will show a movie from the past, whether it's The Princess Bride or
It's always The Princess Bride.
It's always The Princess Bride, yes. That's an annual thing. Ferris Bueller's Day Off, et cetera, et cetera. So if you are an introvert like me and you have a backyard with some space, for example, it is possible now, because we live in the future, folks, on our favorite online shop, Rhymes with Glamazon, you can get a 100-inch, that's about a 9-foot, wrinkle-free portable outdoor projection screen and stand to set it up for about $100. Now you got to be able to show a movie on that, so got you covered. Got a LCD mini projector that can have a nice throw, highly rated on Amazon, another $100. With if you're a Prime member, 2-day shipping. You can have it by the end of this weekend if you are tuning in, or early next week. So if you wanted to really or have a neighborhood event, or if you got a birthday party and you want to be the coolest parent on earth, it's possible that you connect a laptop or even a device, because it's got an HDMI connector on this LCD projector, and blast a 9-foot picture outdoors in your backyard. Also, for the backyard, I've noticed this in a couple of places in our neighborhood as we're walking our dog towards twilight. On Amazon, for about $33, there is an MPOW, M-P-O-W, solar sensor light. It's waterproof outdoor wall lighting. And what this is as you're walking, it's kind of like having a night light, or like turn on through motion. And the best part about it is you stick them on a wall. They're powered by the solar. And yes, in Bellingham, we do get sun, even in the other 8 months of the year. Really nice way to illuminate your house. And if you wanted to have your Michael Jackson, Billie Jean moment, you could put them down on the tiles in your backyard and take a step, it lights up. Take a step, it lights up. That's right. So the MPOW MPOW solar sensor lights, about $33 for, I believe, a pack of 2. Which may be a pretty cool purchase to illuminate your backyard for that case. So I'm going to come back to for balcony folks, but what do you got for backyard tech?
So backyard tech, and going back to your MPOW, I believe I have one of their lights. They also make a floodlight for like your garage. Oh. So like, if you have somebody or something creeping around, it like triggers.
Nice.
Yeah. Those things are great. And the solar panel does work year round. Because I have a solar panel one and it works even in the winter.
Good to know.
Yep. So here in the Pacific Northwest, it's interesting because those of us that have backyards, we tend to use them and enjoy them. For those of us that perhaps don't, sometimes you will throw stuff into this thing called a backpack and go to the great outdoors and enjoy nature's backyard.
Hashtag go outside.
Hashtag go outside. So my next pick, it works for best of both worlds. If you have 2 trees in the backyard, or if you want to go to Boulevard Park, or if you want to go up to Mount Baker next to a glacial lake, take a look at ENO, single nest or double nest hammock. You can buy them online, or you can get, like I did, I got mine at REI, Viva the Co-op. And they're about $60. And what's cool about this is these are hammocks that look like they're made out of parachute material. They're strong as heck. And I've taken mine from here to La Push. Like I usually take it and throw it in my sack because it's a great way to get off the ground, and especially if you're camping on the beach, it's great. But what's cool is that these things are big enough for a burly person frame like yourself, Chris, that you could be comfortable in one of these.
Are you saying that my butt's fat or something?
No, you're just a very tall, lengthy guy.
Okay, good enough. All right.
These are strong enough to hold quite a bit of poundage. And they're convenient enough that you can put them in your backyard, you can put them in your rucksack because they may be condensed down to about the size of a Nalgene bottle. They're super light. If you do get one of these Nest hammocks, also take a look at what Eno makes what's called the Atlas hammock suspension system. They're rated for 400 pounds.
That could definitely fit my fat butt.
Yep. So what these straps are is they're a ladder strap where they have different loops at different lengths so that you can attach them to really wide trees or perhaps narrow pillars if you've got like a balcony, you want to string this down below your balcony at home. They're about $30, and the combination of these two for basically about $100, you have a hammock that you can have, you can throw outside between two trees at home, two trees at a park, or two trees up a mountain. It's really fun, and they come in both a single and a double person.
Hammock life is really big around here since we have so many trees around. I do see a lot of the kids, if you will, enjoying the hammock life in these lazy summer days. And so that's a really great idea. And it's an investment, but something of this durable quality, it'd be lasting you many years.
I've had mine for 3 or 4 years now, and I guess I started a trend because you're right. I have seen a lot more hammocks lately.
AJ, you are always a trendsetter.
I'm a trendsetter.
Exactly. So, very good. So that was what you got for your backyard.
Yeah.
Cool. So let's talk about the balcony. For those of you in apartment life or condo life, up a few floors that don't have landscaping or things like that, to decorate to your patio. Really quick, simple idea. The 24-foot outdoor string lights, commercial grade. It's kind of like what you see in a lot of bistros or restaurants.
Yeah.
It's $40 on Amazon. We have a link. Click on the link in the show notes. It'll take you right to what's going on. Nice ambient light. It's not that bright, fluorescent, eye-distracting glare. It's nice, soft light, and it will add a nice touch to those evenings as you are gazing out onto your view, whether it's of the bay of another apartment complex or of whatever you got in the backyard view. The second thing that I got going on is for some of you that have a balcony and you have flower pots, they have color-changing LED flower pots right now, which are nice touches, especially in the evening time, where it will go from green to blue, red, yellow, and such, just cycle around. $13 on Amazon.
Are they solar?
No.
Okay, so batteries required.
You may want to double check on the battery or the power source. I did not go too deep dive into that, but to have these, I love the lights that change color. I have a little bit of an LED rope string in my office. It's just nice to zone out to every now and then. Something to think about should you have some flowers or other plants on your balcony.
Wait, I was distracted by your lights in your office. Were you talking?
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly. So, and the third thing, this can apply to regular barbecues in the backyard or one of your little portable barbecues, or even an oven if you so see fit. Who doesn't love having a s'more by the campfire in the summertime? They have, and of course, this is technology. We live in the future. Innovations are amazing. You can get a 6-quantity s'more maker for the barbecue.
What?
It's called S'more to Love, naturally.
Oh my gosh.
And it's $14 on Amazon, but it's kind of like a little bit of a cage crate kind of thing. You put in your half-gram crackers times 6. You put in your marshmallows times 6. You put in your chocolate times 6, and then top it with the other graham crackers. Stick it in the barbecue. High heat, no charring, unless if you get flame stuff like that. But you also can stick this in the oven, perhaps. Please be sure to have some aluminum foil underneath just in case anything melts. But otherwise, you got your s'mores via the barbecue overlooking life on your balcony.
Oh my gosh, that's a sugar fix.
$14 on Amazon. So,
oh my.
What do you got for the balcony?
So for the balcony, and this is kind of balcony and also just great outdoors in general. So, and this gets into my tech that caught my eye later in this, but I kind of want to point out that this year we have a full solar eclipse happening.
Yep.
And we'll be seeing it in our parallel, here in Washington, but definitely in Oregon. But I just want to point out that, with the summer days that we have, one, my recommendation that I'm going to be giving, do not point directly into the sun because it's a telescope. I think this is one of the things that, like, in my generation, like I remember having on the back porch, back patio, back anything, I had a nice little telescope. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. I have a little Meade telescope that I've had for literally years, since I was a kid. I looked it up online. You can find them for about $40. Here's the tech part of it. That's not the tech recommendation. But have a telescope and just teach kids about the stars, or just yourself if you're interested to see like what our moon looks like at 100 millimeters, or whatever. There are apps now, and this is something I really wished as a kid that I had. You can take your phone, because again, Chris, you're right, the future is now. You can take your phone, and there is this app on iOS, and I believe on Android as well, called Night Sky. It's free, and what it does is it uses the magnometer and gyro in your phone. So as you put it up to the sky, it actually shows you like what you're looking at, like what constellations, what galaxies, and whatever. Super cool if you want to like use it and then line up your telescope to see what you're doing, like to zoom in on like distant planets far, far away.
I'm telling you, kids are just not going to like that, because they're going to be learning something, and the parents can be like, "Look at this! This is great!
You're going to learn something. Dang it,
right.
Chris!
By cracky, you're going to learn something.
By crikey!
Yeah.
If you don't have an iOS or an Android device and you want to do it old school, there's this open source project that I've used in the past called Stellarium. I'm going to slaughter it. It's Stellar. Stellarium, and it's open source, it's cross-platform, and it's free because it's open source. So if you have an old PC or a Mac or even a Linux laptop, you can throw this on and put in your coordinates and kind of line things up, and you can use that if you want a bigger display as well. And what's cool about that is also that cross-platform. If you put it on a computer, it's free. They do have an app on iOS and Android. It's about $2.50 on Android, $3 on iOS, which does the same thing, but again uses your magnometer and all that other cool techie stuff.
Very good.
So if you want to teach those constellations, I thought that was a really cool, really cool analog meets digital for your backyard.
Absolutely. And it can be anywhere outside. It doesn't have to be in a balcony or so. If you're outside by the water, or if you're outside sitting in traffic and you got a sunroof, there you go.
Yeah. The other thing that I have is, and this gets into my rant, so as much as I am a orologist, I love time. The other thing I love is weather. I have had a weather station since I can remember, even those analog ones, the really cool old school ones with like the brass dials, and it's got the little needles and stuff. I have two weather stations that I maintain at my house. I have an old one made from this place that no longer exists called West Germany. It's that old. It's called traditionally speaking, you usually call it a banjo style weather station because it looks like a banjo. You have this really big gauge in the center, and then it has a long neck. And so basically what that is the bottom small dial is a hydrometer, tells you how much moisture is in the air. Mm-hmm. The big center one of the banjo is your barometric pressure, so that you can see the highs and lows. And then the top part is traditionally a thermometer. And so I love that. It's sitting right above my nest. I also keep a digital one, and for years, literally decades, I've gone with Oregon Scientific. I've had like one of their earliest ones to one of their more recent development ones. I've even had their pro version for a little bit that has like wind speed and rain catch and UV index. And the reason why I bring this up is I've had the top end and I've had the bottom end, and in doing like just having a weather station at my home, I have realized over the years, you don't need all of that. And most people are listening probably going, why don't you check your weather on your phone? Because it's never right in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah,
that's
changes
why.
Hourly on our app. If you happen to see, it's going to be 80 this weekend on Saturday. Nope, 72. Oh, 76. Nope, 62. Oh, it's going to be snowing this weekend. Yeah.
Right. Or better yet, like if you live on Lake Whatcom, the weather in Lake Whatcom is vastly different than down here in downtown Bellingham. You can have a variance of 10 degrees easily, and then throw in wind and all this other jazz. And so this last go around, my last weather station sensor, it died. And so it made me think, okay, who am I going to go with? So there's several companies now that have kind of gotten into the game, because Oregon Scientific has been like the main staple in this industry for a while. And so there was this company called AccuRite. So I decided to throw down, get their AccuRite. It was on Prime Day, Amazon Prime Day. And I got this Accurite. I don't have the
Pro
name.
color with
I can't remember the serial number off the top of my head. They have several versions. What drew me to it is when I had the Oregon Scientific Pro Weather at home, you have 3 separate sensors that you have to sync up to the base station, and it gives you wind speed and rain and all this other jazz. It was too complicated. The sync, again, when you want basic data, you want to be able to look outside, look at this, and forecast. That's the main goal. For 12 hours, do I wear shorts or do I wear a parka? Mm-hmm. That's what you're looking for. And it just wasn't well executed. The Accurite has all of those sensors in one, and that intrigued me. And on top of that, the ping rate, that was the other thing. You don't want to have any latency. The ping rate on this was like every 18 seconds, it relayed data to the base station. So I was really giddy. It was like $60. I threw down on it. I got it. And I'm sending it back because here is the crux of this. All of the weather stations I've ever owned run on battery. And the battery life on these things are great because it's just a simple black-white LCD. This was a color display, and I thought that was interesting. It said it was wireless. It's not because the sensor is wireless. The base station is not. So you have to have this plugged in somewhere.
It defeats the purpose of wireless.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. The sensor's wireless, but the base station's not. Okay, so what do I get? Okay, this color display, really it's not a true color display. It's just this color sticker that that there's a backlight to that, so it makes it look like it's color. But you still have the normal black LCD, numbers. So I was like, okay, maybe I could live with this. Until I sat down. So I put it up in my living room and I sat down. And the angle of the LCD immediately when you sit down, if you've ever seen old LCD screens, they wash out. Yeah. And this one's bad. Like the viewing angle, you have to be basically looking down into it. That was a huge deal breaker. So sent it back and I went back to Oregon Scientific. And the reason why I went back to them is, here's the thing about them. I love their interfaces. I think they make some of the best longevity and also readability interfaces. I hate their sensors. That's the reason why I've bought a new weather station every 7 years is their sensors die. And anybody's listening that probably has a weather station, you're like, wow, my Radio Shack one does too. Yes, they're the ones that's outside bearing the elements and stuff, and I get that. But I went back to Oregon Scientific and I got the BAR 208, and I think the one that I currently have is the BAR 205. It's $60 and it gives me a weather forecast for 12 hours. It gives me indoor and outdoor humidity. It gives me indoor and outdoor temperature. And it gives me this really cool feature that I haven't seen on any other weather station in the wintertime here in the Pacific Northwest. It gives you an ice warning.
That's helpful.
It's this little blinking light that once it trips, it takes in the relative humidity and the relative temperature and says there is ice on the road. That feature alone has saved my bacon because I'm like, oh, it's cold out, but I don't think it's that cold out. That thing does a really good job in the winter.
That beats Twitter updates for hashtag ice on the roadways.
Because again, the ice on your roadway is vastly different than downtown Bellingham. And that's the thing that I like about having a weather station locally in your backyard. And it's a piece of tech that is, I think, invaluable because our apps today, yes, they can geolocate. It gives you the general weather for your locale, not hyper local, which is more important. If you're out in Maple Falls, okay,
hi, Maple Falls.
Sup, Maple Falls. I guarantee you the weather is vastly different there than downtown Bellingham. And you want to know if there's going to be, ice on the roads getting into Beham or whatever. And so that's the reason why I wanted to take a little bit of the show to go on my rant of, if you're looking at a weather station, don't go hyper, I need wind speed and all this other jazz. Look at what you need. Look at the usability, as in the installation. How easy is it going to be to install this? The Oregon Scientific that I have, it's basically one sensor. I'm going to put it underneath my eave on my back porch, and that's where my old one lived for 5 years before it died. Look at the readability of the display. Some of these displays are super small, where you kind of have to squint to look at it, and if you have aging eyes, that may be a deal breaker for you. But also where you're going to position it in your living room or your kitchen or if you're hanging it on a wall. You want to be able to glance at it and see what it is, not walk up and, the viewing angle or anything like that. Decomplicate this because you want to be able to know, do you need shorts or a parka.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, keeping it simple is kind of what we've talked about for many episodes right now.
Yeah.
I had a weather station growing up. It was the banjo style.
Yeah.
In the family room, parents had it, and I was trying to always figure out barometer and what that meant, and I always figured that with pressure in my head, but no, that's not the case.
Under pressure.
It does give a very good look at our weather apps. There's a great weather app called Dark Sky.
Oh yeah, used it.
iPhone. Yeah, but there's something as far as your home, your hood, where that is right now, and to get back to a little bit of more basics, that could be a really helpful thing. Good insight and analysis on weather stations.
Yeah.
So now it is time for tech that caught our eye.
Yeah.
So, AJ, what tech caught your eye this week?
So really, this isn't tech for consumers. This is just tech that is just cool. And it gets into my pick previously about telescopes. So just this morning at the recording of this show, reported by Petapixel and also by NASA, the NASA JunoCam, that's the probe that's been going around Jupiter, got the closest to Jupiter that we have ever been.
Okay.
So we got to actually see the big red spot up close and personal. And so there are some really wicked shots of that.
Excellent.
Now, if you have a telescope and you try to look at Jupiter, you may see it and it might be a little bit fuzzy. Dude, the JunoCam stuff is super dope. Like, it's just, if you're a space nerd, like, these are really, really cool, Chris. I mean, you can look at and see all of the waves and stuff. It's really cool. So anyway, if you go to either Petapixel or if you Google the NASA JunoCam, the other thing I love about these photos is, one, they're high res, and because they're part of the government, you can grab them, you can source them, you can manipulate them and stuff. But what's cool is, if you look at the names that some of the NASA peeps, good on you guys. You guys have a good sense of humor, because one of the photos of the big giant Jupiter red spot, if you look at the name of it that they put on the database, it's called Sauron's Eye. Nice.
As well it should be.
So clearly, NASA peeps, you're geeks, and you're the goods, according to us here at BPM.
Awesome.
So that like I said, it's not really tech that's for consumers, but that's the tech that caught my eye. What do you've got, Chris?
So first of all, let me preface this by saying Bellingham Podcast Media Tech is sponsored by nobody, because we don't take any ads. Keeping that in mind, I wanted to at least make mention of a podcast, and I think I kind of spoke briefly about it in the past, but I'm listening to this podcast on WNYC Studios called Note to Self. And this is a podcast about being human. And in recent weeks, they do about a weekly podcast, kind of like us. The host is Manoush Samarodi, and she's a fabulous host, very, very real. There are those that you kind of tell like they're reading off a script, or that they're robotish in their delivery. Unlike us, we're far from it. But anyway, Note to Self is recently had a couple episodes on detoxing your relationship with your phone, turning it off for a day, deleting an app off your phone. Does this ring any bells to you folks? This is the stuff that we've been having in our tech challenge to try to have less. And
does she tune in?
I wish. No, that'd be great. But I'm sure there's plenty of podcasts that are clamoring for Note to Self's attention. It has a huge viewership. But basically, Note to Self is doing a lot of stuff that we've already done. So I think we're on parallel paths. They've got the 747 jumbo jet, and we've got the remote control airplane with what we're doing with our podcast.
I think we're quadcoptering it at this point.
We are a quadcopter par excellence, no question. However, for those of you that enjoy some of the topics we talk about, trying to improve your relationship with technology or other insights, check out Note to Self on your favorite podcast player. I'm a fan, and I like sharing things that speak to me. Hopefully they'll speak to you as well.
Yeah. Well, that wraps it up for this edition of BPM Tech. Thank you again so much for listening to us, rating us, reviewing us on the iTunes, on the Google Play, on the SoundCloud, and even Spreaker. That's the funny one that says speaker, but has an R in the middle of it. If you're in the Bellingham area, you might be listening to us on KMRE 102.3 FM, Low Power Community Radio here in Bellingham, Washington. Be sure to tune into us. When are we on, Chris?
On the radio, 102.3 FM, or if you happen to go to KMRE's online website, check us out on Thursdays at 9 a.m. Pacific Time and Saturdays at 1:30 p.m. Pacific Time.
From the city of the subdued excitement, I'm AJ Barsay.
And from Bellingham, I'm Chris Powell. Thanks again for joining us once again on BPM Tech.
Go outside!